kind of reset my thinking, reset my physiological state, gain a little bit more clarity on, what do I need next to be able to stabilize my performance?
So tell me, so give me a description of how state shifting would actually work. I've been in one of those high-powered executive jobs and super driven, and work, you know, 12, 15-hour days for weeks on end. How do I shift my state?
One, there's almost never going to be a cure for a 12 to 15-hour days toll that it's going to take in an immediate sense. But again, taking little breaks can help you recover enough to sustain that for a little bit longer until you can get to a more stable work-life balance pattern where, okay, I've been able to bring on more people and automate a little bit more from my role, delegate a little bit more. But to your point about the state shifting, okay, if I get caught in I guess the word I would use is a neural loop, where I have been thinking at something for a while, I've been acting on it for a while, and the time and the energy it's taking is taking away from my ability to regulate mood, to regulate cognitions and decision making. And I essentially need to reset my nervous system. So I use kind of my background in trauma therapy and interpersonal neurobiology to teach you how to reset your brain, where you can use an easy cue after we build the activity to kind of tell your brain, I need you to back off of this, to relax, to let go, ease up and get out of this loop. And once we have it installed, usually we use a word to activate it.
So give
Once
me
you
a
use that
description
word,
how you would how you'd install that, and then we'll get into the word too. But so how would I install
absolutely.
that? Is this like kind of like NLP that you're using something similar to that, or what's the strategy to install that
Yeah.
into somebody?
So this comes from a couple of things. Some of it comes from my background with the EMDR work, and I've just modified that to be more non-clinical. We use kind of just a walking pattern. If you're walking, this kind of helps your brain just absorb that information, and not just your brain, but your nervous system. So it's transmitting through your whole body. Free is kind of one of the core things that I've worked with a lot. The therapist, doing that in a non-clinical way, what we're doing is creating a memory-based state of activation. So memory is made up of circumstances or events that will recall a certain state, sensory input, thought patterns, emotions, body sensations. So I'll just have people summon up kind of their magic room, like if they could build any room that they would like to go to. And it is the room where they would feel like the most motivation, the most energy they could imagine. What would that room have in it? And they'll walk through this. They'll do a little bit of walking. As they kind of immerse themselves into this imagined state, we go through, well, what are you noticing right now? And, typically people are saying, well, I'm relaxing. I feel lighter. I do feel like I could move a little bit more freely. I feel ready. And then we'll have them keep going and enhancing this. And eventually I'm having them focus on this while they're walking, enhancing it as much as possible. Just the walking helps drive that in a little bit more strongly. And once it has maximized, then we switch over to what's the word or phrase that goes with this. And when you hold that word or phrase with that image, with how you imagine that room might smell, or if there's any sound in that room, as you're walking, holding all that with the word, that word becomes tied to the memory.
So how many times do you have to go through this to kind of make that link? So I
Typically
mean, so
one
that you
time.
can say that again.
One time.
One time.
I do it one time. I do assign people to rehearse this. So take 30 seconds a day and focus on the word. And the word is your access point to the state. It kind of is like a application on a computer. It tells the program to run. And doing that repeatedly kind of strengthens those neural pathways.
So do I have to be in a particular state when I'm trying to reprogram my brain like this? I could see how this would actually work.
Yeah. I usually tell people rehearse it when you don't need it. You don't run a marathon without practicing first. So rehearse it when you don't need it. You need to be calm so it's easy. But then you kind of step up to, let me imagine my stressful scenario, because I want to go ahead and practice by putting my brain through the correct training of when it's a stressful period, when I am, burning the candle at both ends, so to speak, or when I feel completely wiped out. That's when I need to do this and kind of reset my thinking, reset my physiological state, gain a little bit more clarity on what do I need next to be able to stabilize my performance.